Hey skaters, it's Stace here from Next Set Tutorials. In today's lesson, I'm going to be going over my top 5 elements that every figure skater should be doing. When coming to a practice session, it can be very overwhelming on what to practice depending on your skill level or your goals. Now, I have picked 5 elements that I feel that are so important that every figure skater should be doing. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump in and get started with number 5. All right, coming in at number 5 is stopping. So no matter if you're a beginner skater or advanced skater, you have to know how to stop on the ice, because once we get moving, eventually we have to come to a stop, and I know you don't want to always use the barrier. So as a beginner skater, our stopping looks like this. You might get some speed, arms are in front, you're gonna bend, push your feet out, and stop. So you want to work on just that, getting balance, bending your knees, slowly pushing your feet out, getting balance again before you pull up. Now, advanced skaters, you want to start getting creative with your stops, because you're gonna want to put in a program, something cool and interesting that might look like this. Nice and fast, like stop, turn, and then maybe a slide stop again. So stopping to me is something that everyone should be working on, using different stops from our T-stop to a tango stop, where we'll push and sharp with it. And then we have a quick hockey stop. So stopping is number 5 on my list. All right, coming in at number 4 is 3 turns. 3 turns are so important in figure skating as a beginner or an advanced skater, because they help us get from forwards to backwards or from backwards to forwards on one foot. So as a beginner skater, I find that it's really crucial that beginner skaters, when they start 3 turns, they know how to control a 3 turn. They're not putting their foot down afterwards. So I'm gonna start off with a left forward outside 3 turn. So it's all about control when you're learning 3 turns. Learning how to bend, push, make the turn, and control it afterwards. Because when you know how to do solid 3 turns in control, you're able to go to the next level. And that's like for advanced skaters, we use 3 turns before spins, before jumps, that it might look like this. You might do a forward inside 3 turn before a spin. So 3 turns to me should be practiced every single time you hit the ice, because when you build a solid foundation as a beginner, doing solid 3 turns, not putting the foot down afterwards, learning how to control it and hold your shoulders. Right here, push, control, hold. You're gonna be able to do amazing things after this. You can do a Salchow, you can do a flip jump. So learning how to do 3 turns and practicing them every single time you step on the ice is gonna help your overall skating. So before I show you element 3, I want you to click on the link below in the description for your free PDF guide on our jumps that we have in figure skating. We decided to make a PDF just for you so that you can learn all of your jumps and know the difference between each jump. So when you're ready, give it a click. All right, coming in at number 3 is the Mohawk or C-step. In my opinion, this is even more important than the 3 turns, because it is more commonly used to turn from forwards to backwards. Now, as a beginner, again, the same thing like the 3 turns, with the Mohawk or C-step, you want to always make sure that you are in full control. You are going, I'm gonna go right to left, bending, you're able to be controlled on that right foot, then step back on the left foot and hold. Sometimes as when we're just learning this C-step, we tend to spin out, drag the foot, drop the hip, and it looks like this. So you might drag the foot while stepping, or you might spin out and around. So these are things when you're doing the C-step that you really want to focus on as a beginner. because as an advanced skater, you want to have big power, control, speed, because that's going to allow you to do things off of the C step that look like something like this. You're going to pull up, big speed, and because I'm in control, I can pull a jump off and stretch. So this is why I feel that every time you step on the ice, you should be using your C steps, focusing on that control, bending, push, bend, press, and stretch, and finding this balance right here. That way I know I can do harder things off of it. So when you're practicing, focus on that power control, because from there, it's just gonna gradually get stronger and better to where you can add things off of it. All right, coming in at number 2 is our edges. So we have forward, inside, back, outside, and back, inside. Now, in today's lesson, the focus is going to be the forward, inside, and forward, outside edges. Now, as a beginner starting out, you are wanting to learn the difference between inside and outside, the different pressure that we have on that blade, leaning in or out. So I'm learning how to just balance and ride the edge around nice and solid. Pressing and holding, and then outside, press, push, press. And I'm trying to just feel the blade as it comes around, because a lot of times, when you're just starting out learning these, they tend to fish out. So you might go here and the blade is wobbling here. Whereas we want those edges to come around solid. So we want to put pressure towards the back of the blade as that edge is coming around and holding. Now, as an advanced skater, why I find that edges are so important is because we are going to use them all the time, like with forward cross rolls. We use them for power and speed, with quickness, pressing on our edges here. Or we might go press, 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 nice and deep. So I feel that every single time anyone steps on a session, edges should be done, because that leads to greater things. You know, we have edges going into jumps, we have edges going into spin, we have edges everywhere. So this is why practicing inside and outside, forwards and backwards are so essential to figure skating. All right, coming in at number 1 are crossovers. We use crossovers all the time in skating to help us generate speed and to go around corners. So what does that look like? Around corners, we'll use forward crossovers. Another way that we can generate speed around corners are with pumps. But I know you rather would probably generate speed and power with forward crossovers. So as a beginner skater, we learn how to do crossovers walking, learning how to go, okay, right foot over, left foot pulling back up, holding. Once you learn how to get the fundamental of crossovers, we start moving them, okay? So we're maybe on a circle here, crossing the right over, lifting the left, balancing, crossing together, push, cross, together. So this is more of a beginner starting out crossover. Now, advanced skaters, we are focusing on our extension and having powerful crossovers, making sure we use both pushes, one then the other, and it's gonna look like this. Having pushing and push, we're gaining power and speed across the ice. This is why every single time, no matter what level you are, you want to work on your crossovers. I know I'm even still working on mine, trying to perfect it and refine it all the time, because sometimes I do get a bit lazy and I won't extend my free leg the way that it should be, or use all that power on that push out. and push under. So as a skater, you always want to touch on crossovers. Backwards also. I know we've only touched on the forwards today, but every time you step on the ice, forwards and backward crossovers. All right, there you have it. These are my top 5 elements that you should be practicing every time you step on the ice. It doesn't matter what level you are. Even if you're a beginner skater and you're just starting out, by having a solid foundation, knowing how to do crossovers, edges, C-steps, 3 turns, stopping, it's gonna help you get to the next level for jumps and spins. So this is why it is so important that you touch on these every single time you skate. Even if you're a high level skater working on double jumps, you can always make your 3 turns better, more solid. You can always have better crossovers. I know Olympians who are still constantly trying to perfect their crossovers to make them even more beautiful and more powerful across the ice. So there you have it. Thanks for watching Next Edge Tutorials and looking forward to seeing you in our next lesson.